This perp back with another video, and I just got done watching episode 5 of the scariest horror movie moments of all time. This is numbers 49 to 37. And this is definitely going to be a very controversial one because we're starting to get into the top 50, and we got some interesting picks. This is definitely going to be a controversial list. It's definitely not going to appease everybody, especially with this episode. I'm even kind of mixed with a lot of these picks, and we're gonna get into it right now. Beginning with this movie called Bay of Blood. They picked a scene that obviously was inspired. You see replicated in Friday the 13th, where this couple's having sex and they just get stabbed or impaled while they're having sex. And I think this is one of those cases where this could have been lower. In my opinion, I think this was way too high. That's just my opinion. Let me know in the comments below how y'all feel about the placement of Bay of Blood cracking into the top 50. Being higher than Nightmare on Elm Street, I could see a lot of people being upset with this pick. But the next movie that they pick, I'm okay with, and that is The Conjuring. This came out in 2013. Definitely one of my favorite horror movies of all time. I feel like this movie was very effective. You could have literally picked any scene. They picked the clapping scene, which I feel like that was very effective, even though they kind of spoil it in the trailer. But seeing how it plays out in the movie, I still think it was effective nonetheless. Now, the next one I think a lot of people are going to be kind of controversial with is Get Out. This is a very mixed movie amongst some people. Some people really love it. Some people think it's overrated. Some people really hate it. And Jordan Peele has definitely made a name for himself with this movie and this being such a breakout hit. I'm okay with it being where it's at. I think what its messaging does as far as horror from a black perspective is really dope, and while I really enjoy it, it's definitely going to go down as one of my favorite movies. You could pick any scene, or just the movie itself is just a moment within itself in time. You know what I'm saying? But you definitely start to kind of see a pattern with this list, and I can see somebody having some backlash or just not really agreeing with certain placements. Like, I could see people not seeing Get Out shouldn't be as high as Elm Street, but it's all subjective, so it's cool. But this next one, this is weird because yes, they have counted TV movies, not individual episodes. This is Twin Peaks episode 8 or part 8, which is so weird of a pick because it's not a movie. It looked very cinematic, but it's just not a movie. I just don't know how to feel about this pick. It looked cool, but it's just not a movie. And that kind of throws off this whole entire list, and I think a lot of people are going to that's going to take a lot of people out. The next one was Pan's Labyrinth. They chose this one scene of the weird creature with the no face and whatnot, with the eyes on his hands. I always remember that out of anything in that whole entire movie. But from a design aspect, that movie is really dope. If you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out. It's not going to be for everybody, but it's definitely one of those weird ones. Speaking of which, Rosemary's Baby. I'm not a fan of this movie, and it's weird that they picked the scene that they picked for this. Like, it was like some dream grape scene. You know what I'm saying? I don't get it. It was starting to kind of lose me, at one point with this list. Once we got to this and just how they're explaining the scene, if y'all feel like this deserves to be as high as it should, that's fine. I personally wouldn't put nothing from Rosemary's Baby on none of my list. That's just me. It is what it is. Let me know how you guys feel about this pick, though. Next, we got this French horror movie called Inside. And this shit definitely deserves to be a little bit higher in this specific episode. And there's a lot of these different movies that I would have replaced and put in their place instead of what they picked personally. But this is a very violent movie. It's relentless, and the scene that they picked with the mom getting stabbed, dope. Then we get Seven. Now, Seven I haven't seen in a long time, but you could kind of see similarities with Seven and even something with the Batman. You can kind of see where Batman kind of gets his themes for. And obviously they follow that up with Zodiac, which is just really funny. Like, these two movies back to back, I personally wouldn't pick them, or I would have put them probably lower. That's just me. Then we get into 28 Days Later, which I'm so glad that this is on this list, because 28 Days Later is a great zombie slash infection type movie. These are the type of infected that you don't want. I'd rather deal with the Walking Dead type of walkers, because they're slow. These motherfuckers is fast, and they're brutal. And any amount of, they showcase like any amount of drop of blood that gets into you, you're going to automatically turn into a zombie. And I liked seeing those types of scenes of people's first transformation, or seeing like a certain character that you follow for a certain amount of time and they end up turning. It's a really dope effect. And seeing how it was shot with the blood just falling down into his eye and him just going instantly crazy, because it's spontaneous. Like it's like it doesn't take hours or nothing like that. It's pretty much like that. You're turning into a zombie, or just something that's infected, and just you have this uncontrollable rage, and it was really dope. Then ironically, they follow that up with 30 Days of Night, which this is another dope movie that's a vampire movie, and I think that's really effective as far as it just being that, a vampire movie. These aren't like your seductive type of zombies, not zombies, vampires that we're used to seeing with like Twilight. You know what I'm saying? These are very serious, even though some of the special effects in this movie probably really don't hold up. I would definitely recommend checking this movie out if you haven't seen it. And if you're a fan of the vampire genre, definitely check it out. Then we get a controversial one next, is Silence of the Lambs. And Bravo had this in their top 10 of scariest horror movie moments. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how this whole list plays out once we get to number one. Maybe I could do a which one was a better list, Bravo versus Shudder, when it's all said and done. Let me know how you guys feel about that. How do y'all feel about Silence of the Lambs being so low, but still being in the top 50? Suspiria is the last one that they kind of show off, and I've seen this before. Very artsy, art house type of horror movie. And shout outs to Shudder, because they had like a secret screening of one of Dario Argento's new movies that are dropping later on this month. I have a non-spoiler review about that movie, Dark Glasses. Go check that out. But having them end it with Suspiria is really cool. It's just seeing how it's shot is really dope, how colorful and how vibrant it is, but also how eerie and violent it is at the same time. So I definitely want to kind of dive more into the Italian horror genre and try to check out some more of those movies, because they look kind of interesting to me. I really like foreign horror movies. I think they have a unique style compared to something that you're used to seeing from the West. But overall, I was a little let down with this episode. There's still some things that I feel like could have been a little bit higher. It should have been a little bit lower. The whole Twin Peaks episode 8 thing kind of threw me off. I was just like, so are you going to put like a Walking Dead episode on here? Or are you going to start mentioning other TV episodes? Then that just doesn't become a horror movie moment type of thing anymore at that point. And I think that's going to be some people's biggest gripe with this list, that there's no clear indication like what is a scary movie moment, because they really just talk about the whole entire movie and not a specific moment all the time. Some of the directors, or who they got to talk about these movies, have their own kind of individual moments. And maybe this should have just been named something else. I don't know. But I still am curious to see how these last few episodes are going to play out. How do y'all feel about episode 5? Would you change anything, or do you think it's fine how it is? Let me know in the comments below. Till next time, I'm out.